Hello, welcome to my photo studio and to ProPhotoLife.com. It may be hard for some of us to imagine, but there's a whole new generation of digital photographers that have never shot film, much less developed their own film. After viewing the How to Make Your Own Pinhole Camera video, a number of the younger readers here at ProPhotoLife.com asked, how is black and white film processed? Now today we'll be processing a roll of 35mm film that I shot with my Nikon FE. We could also easily process a roll of 120 film shot in a Holga. Now the first thing to understand is that the film has to be placed into a light, tight container for developing to take place. This is a stainless steel tank, and we'll be putting the film onto a stainless steel reel to carry that development out. Now you can also get plastic tanks and plastic reels. This is just what I happen to have. This is the old school method. Some people find the plastic easier to load, but there are some downsides. If the plastic is wet, it can jam the film. I'm going to show you the method using the stainless steel tank. Once our film's in the tank, we're ready for the developing process. And the developing process consists of these chemical steps. The very first step is pouring in the developer to develop the image. The very next step is, after a predetermined amount of time based on the temperature of the developer, we pour in a stop bath, which stops the development action from happening. The very next step is a fixer that fixes the image and makes it permanent so that it's no longer sensitive to light and it will last. After the fixer, we do a wash series that clears the film from all of these different chemical agents. After the wash, we then use PhotoFlow. It's a Kodak branded product, and it lets the film dry without getting spots on it. So it's this series of 4 chemical steps with a rinse here right toward the end. Now to get the film into the tank, you can either go into a completely dark room, your bathroom, a closet, something like that'll work. Do that at night. Put towels around the perimeter of the door just to block any other light from coming in. If you're in a completely light, tight place, you can carry out this process of getting the film out of the canister and into the tank. You can also use a thing called a changing bag. And the changing bag has a zipper, and it's perfectly light tight, and it allows you to put all of these elements inside of it. Once inside, you zipper it shut, and then your arms go into the armholes, and you can carry out the complete procedure in the middle of the day. Now once again, this entire procedure has to be done in the darkness. So the first thing we want to use is a bottle opener to take the bottom off of the roll of film. And you have to do this by feel. You want to have things laid out in your darkroom so that you know where they are. We pop the film out of the canister in the dark, and then we will have this, and again in total darkness, and I feel and create a straight edge and cut that off. Then I grab for one of my reels. Now on this reel, I know by feel, I'm moving it around, this edge of film needs to be tucked into the reel, and it's very obvious once you have the reel where that goes. Then the film is dropped out of your hand, and just by feel, I guide it onto this reel. Another thing I like to do is I like to take the film like this and feed it into the reel. And that can be done in total darkness. I'm pushing it into the reel. It's going in there very smoothly. If it wasn't loading properly, it would bunch up, it would stop the reel from rolling. So this is a method that I kind of like. Okay, once I've reached the end, by feel, I need to clip that end off. There we go. And I then drop this into the stainless steel tank. And because I'm just developing one roll of film, and this is a 2-reel tank, I'll drop the other roll on top, and then I put the lid on the whole thing. So I'm going to start this process by pouring my developer into this clean beaker. Once the developer is in the beaker, I will take my thermometer and find out what the temperature is. The development part of the process is the most time dependent, so we want to be as accurate as possible. Inside the film box that the film came packaged in, there's going to be a chart that's going to tell you for what temperature you get, how long the development time should be. We're at 68 degrees here, so the inside of the box tells me I want to develop for 7.5 minutes. Pouring the chemicals in is a very important part of this process. We take off the very top lid, and we have our light tight baffle there, and we then pour the chemicals in through the opening with the tank on an angle. And I will see in the opening when it begins to fill up. The first thing I'm going to do is to leave this at a little bit of an angle and give a gentle tap. That way, any air bubbles in the bottom of the tank are going to rise to the top. If an air bubble is trapped against the film surface, that area will not develop. Then I put the lid on, press it firmly, and now we need to agitate for 5 seconds. So to agitate, we invert the tank like this, and while I'm inverting, I'm also twisting in this kind of motion. So we give that 5 inversions, tap again so that the air bubbles rise to the top, and we wait 30 seconds and repeat. And we're going to repeat that every 30 seconds through the process until we get almost to the end. So we're doing 7.5 minutes total of development, and we're just about to the 7-minute mark. So on every half minute, I give it my 5 inversions, twisting and inverting. I tap it, but I want that developer out of there at the 7.5 minute mark. So I'm going to pop the little top off and pour it back into the beaker so that it's out of there at the 7.5 minute mark. And then at that time, I'm going to pour in my stop bath to stop the development action. And it goes in just the same way as the developer did. And I should be doing this near a sink, but for the sake of illustration, I hope you understand. And we pour that in. We give it a couple of little taps. And then I'm going to invert that. And I'm just going to go about 30 seconds with this. And then I let it sit so that it's in there about a minute total. It's going to get poured back into the stop bath so that it gets reused. And now it's time for the fixer, and that's going to fix the image. And it goes in just the same way. And I'm going to have the fixer in there for a total of 5 minutes. And again, tapping. Going to give it some inversions. Okay, we're reaching the end of the fixer, and now it's going to get poured back into its respective bottle so that it can be reused again another time. Now, once that fixer is poured in there, the image on the film is permanent and it's no longer sensitive to light. I can pop off the entire top and take the very last little bit of fixer and pour it back into the bottle, and now I'm going to go to the sink and thoroughly rinse the film. Now, the Ilford Film Company recommends that we fill the tank with water completely, and again, keeping it at that 68-degree temperature, keeping all the chemicals as consistent as possible, and that we then invert the tank 5 times and dump that water out. And then we repeat the process by filling. We invert 10 times, then we dump it out. We repeat the process and invert 20 times and dump it out. At the end of that process, the film should be thoroughly washed. Now, with our film thoroughly washed, I'm going to take out the top reel and I'm going to pour in the PhotoFlow product, the product that keeps the film from spotting. And I'm going to agitate gently and just let that sit for 30 seconds or so. And I'll just give it a little bit of agitation. Then that will get poured back into the bottle and saved. And then our film is fully developed and ready for drying. I highly recommend doing this in a dust-free area. This is not ideal. A bathroom is a great place to hang your film for it to dry, and we'll use a clip to clamp it onto, say, the shower rod in your bathroom. You can also run the shower water on hot, to create moisture in the air, and that will settle dust. Then we just hang our developed film, and at the very bottom, we'll also put a clip so that it weights it and the film can dry straight. The dried film is then carefully handled and cut into strips and put into plastic archival pages. And there you have it, a processed roll of black and white film. Now, there are some other details. You know, there are choices in developers and fixers and all kind of things like that. You can come to the website, ProPhotoLife.com, look up video episode 20, Developing Black and White Film, and you'll find more information there and some links to books and some other things that will help you with the subject. I hope this has been a good start for you on the way to developing your own black and white film. I hope you're able to give it a try at some point in your photographic career. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you at the website, and we'll see you soon.